Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I'm bringing you Can You Guess the Game? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. There it is right there. Gathering Storm prequel to World at War. So, this is my plan, and I think it's rather ambitious, and the more that I read the rules of Gathering Storm, the more I'm starting to think that it's probably not going to end up happening. This is going to end up being like a pre-review. Obviously, I can't review the game because I haven't completely played it. But my thoughts so far on this game are not good. The rule book is a complete disaster. It's probably the worst rule book I've ever read. And for those of you that know me or have watched any of my videos, I don't really give a lot of praise to High Frontier. 2nd edition anyway. That's the only edition that I have. I don't give a lot of praise to that. That rule book is awful. I think this one is worse. I mean, it is a complete disaster. And I don't think this game is that complex. I'm going to try to power through it, but the same guy that did Gathering Storm, the guy that did the rules and everything, Bruce Harper, the game designer, he did World at War. And I've never played World at War. I've never played Gathering Storm. And I also have the new Storm Over Asia. So if he's done all 3 of those, then basically it's going to be such a hair-pulling exercise. Teeth clenching. It's going to be difficult. I've only played 1 turn, and it's taken me 6-7 hours. I read the rule book first. After I read the rule book, I had no idea what was going on, right? Like most of the times you read a rule book and you kind of have a general idea, and then you need to get the game out. I mean, everybody's different, but for me, I like to try to read the rules a little bit, and then I get the game out and I set it up, and then go through the rules again step by step, right? I think that's probably how most people would do it. I read the rules, had no clue what was going on. I was still completely baffled. So I'm like, well, let me get the game set up. First and foremost, right? You've got these player aid cards. You got them for the Axis, and then you've got the balance of power cards. You've got these are some pretty decent player aid cards. But there's no, in the beginning of the rules here, game components and concepts, overview definitions. All right, number of players. All right, you've got all that. You got the map board. And then we go right, you have a sequence of play, and then you go right into the random events. There's nothing in here. Well, they need to have a setup section, right? Because by the looks of it, setup is always going to be the same, right? Initially, the setup is going to be the same, but you have to find in each phase, it tells you what to set up. So the setup is scattered throughout the rule book, and you have to figure it out. Luckily, I went online and was able to find, they've produced a couple of videos which are helpful, but it's not enough. They definitely need more. I mean, and this is one of the things that's driving me crazy, right? Is they have a setup video, and then there's a couple of, they always mention in the video, all right, and then this is when we would do this phase, but that's going to be saved for another video. But that video doesn't exist, and they do that constantly. But they do have a video on how to magnetize your counters. So what's our priority here? Is our priority magnetizing counters, or is our priority trying to teach people how to play this game? Which we wouldn't even have to do these videos if the rule book was written in a way that you could understand. So you have this nice sequence of play here. It would be nice to have a sequence of play card, but nope, you don't have a sequence of play card. This is all you have. So you can either go online and print one out, or you can do like I did and spend some time and write it out by hand, right? So, no sequence of play card, thumbs down. Rules are terrible, thumbs down. No setup instructions whatsoever. Well, excuse me, let me take that back. There are setup instructions, but you have to go through the rule book and find out for yourself where the stuff goes. Let's look. Is there... Let me go ahead and see if I can find the example of one of the setups. All right, here we go. It took me a minute to find it, but so we are in section 14.9, initial mobilizations. And here you go, Germany, 2 armor, 3 infantry, 3 air, and 1 shipbuilding increase. And that's so, and it has it for each country, but this is, look, I mean, you're already, it looks like we're halfway into the rule book before it tells you where you put your stuff. Now, the card is kind of color coded, but if you've never seen this card before, you can maybe make an educated guess as to where things are going to go. But again, it's still, for somebody who has never played the game before, it's very confusing. Let me see, what else? There's just so many other things. Oh, so I get to the declaration of war phase. So we go to the crisis phase, right? Because I'm thinking about, okay, I want to invade the Rhineland with Germany, and I want to invade Ethiopia with Italy. And where is it? Just want to make sure. Okay. No, I don't think that's it. That's Civil War. All right. Allied declarations of war. British and French declarations of war are subject to the following restrictions based on the aggressiveness of the Axis major power upon which allies wish to declare war. If the target Axis major power is committing an aggression, either Britain or France may declare war on the aggressing major power as follows. If only one of Britain and France exceeds the threshold value for declaring war, that major power may declare war, provided that it's a positive result. Then you go over here to the threshold requirement, and it doesn't tell you what the threshold requirement is. Now, if we look up here to Germany, I think it does. Where is it? All right, here we go. German declarations of war on Russia. Germany may declare war on Russia if the net total of all the modifiers is at least +1. So, okay, so at least we have something to go off of. If we want to declare war on Russia, we need to have a threshold of at least +1. Then it tells you what you have to do, right? It's affected by the balance of power, support levels, European aggression index, minor countries, Germany's neighbors, blah, blah, blah. But nowhere does it say here for the Allies what that threshold level is. Well, look at here. We've got this card. Here we go, right here on the card. So you have to have at least a +1. I think it's a +1 for everybody. So it's on this card, but it's not in the rule book. And that's a big deal, right? Like because you're usually going to you're going to look at the rule book first. Like when you're initially reading the rules, you're going to look through the you're going to read the rule book. And then you might have the player aid card by your side or whatever. But it's just so confusing. Oh, and here's another one. So your random events cards and your purge cards. All right, so here's a Russian purge card. So the Russians can't do certain things until their purge level meets or exceeds certain things. So a purge, right now we're at low, right? Because no purge events have happened. We've got these purge cards. You draw one of these every turn. And then you can adjust your purge track, but it doesn't tell you how to do that. You got to figure that out. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not super difficult. I looked at it and I was like, well, I wonder what that red number 1 at the bottom of that card is, or that circle, that 0 with the circle around it. Well, that's when you, so I drew this card, no purge. So that means my purge level doesn't increase at all, but it doesn't tell you that in the rules. Not in one place does it tell you, look at this, look at the number in the red circle at the bottom of your card. That's what you increase your purge level by. It doesn't tell you that anywhere. And there are also random events. So you have these random events. So that's a purge event, right? So if Russia had drawn this random event, they would play that and they would increase their purge level by 1. Well, guess what? It doesn't tell you that anywhere. You just got to kind of figure it out. And that one's not a hard one to figure out, right? You just kind of look at it and like, okay. But trying to set the pieces up on the map and everything, super confusing. So anyway, I've ranted long enough, right? That rule book is a complete disaster. And honestly, it's one of those things that agitates me. I have to take a phone call, so I'm not quite sure where I was at. But I think where I was going with this is, I would consider myself a pretty experienced war gamer. I've been playing solitaire games and war games for at least 10 years. And so I'm not a rookie. But for somebody who wants to get into this game, who has never played a war game, obviously this is an introductory war game. But you know what? Sometimes somebody might see something and be like, ooh, that really looks interesting. I want to try it out. And this is not a cheap game to get into. I think I got the Gathering Storm. I think I got it at half price because it was on the fall sale or whatever. I bought World at War for full price, and then I bought Storm Over Asia for full price. So I'm into this system for a couple of $100, maybe around between $200 and $300. I mean, for somebody to spend that kind of money and then have this garbage, it's really agitating, but I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna do my best. With the help of the couple of videos that Bruce Harper or whoever has put out, that helped a little bit. It's not enough. And I mean, this game came out in 2015, and I looked at their very first video that they did for this. It was like last year. So, why'd you wait so long? Do you want to attract new people to this game? That's the big question, right? Do you want people to play your game? Do you want new people to play your game, or do you want the same people that have helped play test and have played it, the diehards? Do you only want them to play the game? That's the big question. And right now I'm not super impressed. But I'm going to give it a shot. And I know this sounds like a real terrible rant, but it's agitating. I mean, I spent, what was it? What's today? Today's Wednesday. Monday, I spent probably 5 hours trying to figure out what was going on. And that's after I read the rules. And, like normally I punch counters, or not punch counters, but normally I clip counters. I'm not putting any more time into this game unless by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, you know what? I think there's a game here. But this is my pre-review, so maybe my review will be a little more favorable. Let's hope so. But that's all I got for now. I've just finished the spring 35 turn, so we're getting ready to go to summer. Let's kind of just go over briefly what happened. So, not that I can really remember too much of it, but here we go. So right now we've got the balance of power. It's +2 for armor. So Germany is at a positive modifier. If the Allies were in the lead, then it would be a negative modifier. So the German / the Axis, they are up on the Allies in the armor category. They're also up on the Allies in the infantry category. The Allies do have the advantage in air, and they also have the advantage in naval. So if you add all these together, so +2, +1, -1, -2, that's a 0. So now we have our balance of power here. The aggression index, that can be modified by random events. So this is your economic trend, right? Is the economy in an upswing or is it in a downswing? So that is shown right here. This isn't the one that I drew. This is just one that I have as an example. And the aggression index can also be modified by that right there. Let's see. We got the Axis gaining influence in Turkey, Albania, Hungary. We've got contested. The Russians want Poland back, right? So it's contested right now in Poland. The Germans are going to make a push to get the Rhineland back. And then Britain developed a little bit more influence in Ireland. And I think we also British decided to build a carrier. I don't think anybody else built any other. No, actually, I'm sorry. So the Axis did build a tank, and I think the Italians built a tank. So that's pretty much it. The random events weren't really, nothing really was anything major. It was just all, a couple little minor random events. But Russia, this card's super confusing to set this one up because of their garrison requirements and all that. It's not explained very well. But anyway, that is that's the spring 1935. We're getting ready to go to summer 35. So, oh yeah, and I'm sorry. Italy has started the aggression / invasion of Ethiopia, and they will have that completed by the winter of 1935. So anyway, there you go, folks. Hopefully you made it to the end, but if you didn't, I totally understand because, people don't want to hear people complain about stuff. But, maybe by the time I get to the end of this, my feelings will have changed a little bit. But thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.